Okay, so let me talk about this. This came out very strongly. We have the Death card, and the Death card basically means moving on. It basically means, seizing communication, realizing a situation is no longer feasible or viable for us, and vowing to move on, mainly because we're trying to reach a space of emotional stability. And earth signs in general, and especially you guys, I say you guys mainly because you're very understanding of human nature. Basically, what that means is you take somebody totally, and you take the good with the bad. And so when someone approaches you, they might be somebody with a lot of red flags, or they might be somebody who's not very stable. You see the flip side. You see like all their cuteness, you see like, their generosity. You try to compensate. So basically, you go through the pros and cons in your head, and you also feel like, well, everyone has their, pros and cons. Everyone has their quirks, and everybody has their negative and positive traits. Who are we to judge another person? So you're very understanding. You're very lenient when it comes to people either underperforming and not holding up their end of the bargain. You still stick around. And because of that, I feel like a lot of the time you stay in situations way past their expiration date, because you see the goodness in everybody. And you also believe in, giving somebody the benefit of the doubt, or giving somebody second, third, fourth chances so that they can redeem themselves. Okay. You're not like quick to kind of like cast somebody off the way like an Aquarius does, or even the way a Virgo does. So you're a lot more lenient. And I feel like there was a relationship here. You're finally moving away from it because it's not serving its purpose in your life. It's linked up here with a fire sign. So this is a Sagittarius, an Aries, or a Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Or it is somebody that you shared children with, okay? This person is showing up in the reverse position. They're like not the most ambitious person in the world. They're very extravagant, I feel, when it comes to their spending. They're also like, they kind of like hype themselves up a lot, but they don't really have any solid substance to really prove what they have to offer. And a lot of the times I see this person as, it's not a bad person. This is someone that is quite courageous, very popular, quite attractive, but the energy is reversed, meaning that they go through life and they feel like a lot of the things that they want to achieve has been thwarted. And I feel like the plans that they have been thwarted because they're not very good at planning. They're not very good at being consistent. They're not very good at, their pride will not let them work from the bottom up and achieve something in a consistent, hardworking manner. They want to have something. It's like they want something easily given to them on a silver platter. Does that make sense? So I feel like you're dealing with someone who has a big ego, and whenever they face blockages or difficulties, they don't really look internally like, what have I done to contribute to this? They blamed it on society, systems, or whatever situation. They blame the external environment for their lack of success. And so just imagine if you're dealing with someone like that, and you're in a relationship with them. How do you feel they're going to act when they're in a relationship with you? If it's somebody that has issues with admitting when they're wrong because their pride gets in the way, or they're admitting, okay, I have to do something differently because they keep blaming other people. So if you're in a relationship with them, you're going to be the one that is getting blamed. You're going to be the one that they feel like is really holding them back, right? When that might not be the reality. And so I feel like this person and their ego, it's hindering your relationship. So it's more like, what can you do for them versus, like what can you, it's a one-sided, it's a very egocentric person. And I'm sensing for some of you narcissism. and somebody that might not even be very faithful or loyal. And so you have moved on from this. And I'm glad that this is, moving into the past, okay? What's coming through in the present situation here? We have the Strength card, and the Strength card is about, being being very patient, being like telling yourself, I feel like many of you are in a position where you might have walked away from somebody, and you're trying hard to be firm, to be resolute. But there's a lot of self-doubt here. Did I make the right choice? Is that person coming back? Are they going to communicate with me? I'm also sensing as well, you're in a point where you might even be waiting for them to come back into the picture, to make amends, to reconcile. And I'm also sensing there's still communication with this person. And, there's a lot of chemistry here with this Strength card. It basically means two people that are very different, but energetically, there's great passion, great chemistry. And it can be, the relationship at its best. This person can be very generous, but I feel like they're very extravagant. They're very extravagant. They want the good life without putting in the work and the effort in order to, get themselves there. So I feel like some of you are still caught up in it and waiting for the person. If this is not a fire sign, if this is somebody that you share children with, for example, I still feel like there is some animosity between the two families. Somebody whispering in somebody's ears, possibly the children, oh, dad is like this or mom is like this. So I feel like there's still a lot of resentment that is pent up. And in a way, it's like waiting on communication, not being able to move on because the other person still exude a lot of power and influence over you. What you're thinking about here, we have the Ten of Swords, and the thing that you're thinking about, I feel like there's going to be some revelation coming through here this month in terms of your relationship partner. Whether or not your relationship partner, he or she has been truthful, or whether or not they have been very evasive with you. If they have been very evasive with you, I feel like they are still in another relationship that is not done and over with. And I feel like you're going to be finding this out, unfortunately. And then for others, if there is like third-party temptation, okay, the devil is like getting involved in situations that is not healthy for us, or a bond of attachment between us and another person that is not healthy, is not conducive for growth. So you saw earlier in the general reading, you have a lot of prosperity coming in. And somebody in your life, relationship, is really holding you back because it lacks direction, it lacks commitment, and it's really not serving your greater purpose. So why stay in it, right? And so yes, there is great chemistry. It seems like, with the Strength card and this Devil card, it can feel like a drug. It's like when you're away from the person, they communicate with you, they try to reel you back in, and it's really hard for you to say no because it's like a drug. You have to have your fix. And then when you're together for, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, things start to implode. You can't get along. The old patterns repeat. And I do feel there is third party interfering in this relationship. And so I'm sensing many of you have been hurt greatly by a fire sign here. So Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo, or somebody that you share children with. And you're trying to move on with your life. But I feel like you're at a point where you're still stuck in limbo waiting for communication. The foundation here is something we know to be true. I'm so sorry, Capricorns. We have the Three of Swords, so many of you are single as of this moment. You're trying to forget your ex. You're trying to give your love to somebody else. Okay? So we have here the Prince of Pentacles, which is like the Knight of Pentacles. This is you adamantly trying to find somebody, anybody, like just to forget the past and trying to move on with just somebody new. And what it denotes to me with this card is when you're out there in the world operating from a space where you feel like very broken, very shattered, and you are looking for a relationship, the right relationship is not going to come, okay? You need to heal this first, and you need to take care of this first. You need to take care of yourself, and you need to kind of like ease up on the dating until this is healed, until you can restore your own sense of self-esteem, until you can restore your own sense of, okay, what went wrong with that past relationship? What can I do differently so that it doesn't happen again? What was I supposed to learn about that relationship? And can I honestly let go of it? And can I finally admit that it was very sexually charged, but there wasn't a lot of faithfulness, and there wasn't a lot of there isn't a common direction between you and that person? Until you can arrive at all of these conclusions, or until you can have this conversation with yourself in all honesty, I feel like you need to chill out when it comes to like the dating, because it seems like you're scrambling looking for a person to date, and that person, it's not fair for that person. That person is serving as a rebound, right? And so you're not going to be 100% committed to them. You're just looking for something to distract you or to dull that pain. And it is not fair for that new person. So I feel like you're scrambling here, and it's not going to be good. Moving forward in the future position, I have another earth sign here. So Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. And basically in the reverse position, we have here the Three of Wands. Many of you might be connecting with new people from a distance. So I feel like, they might be a city away, they might be out of state, they might be, a world away. And so what they're really saying here is, if you were dealing with this, you need to just calm down a little bit and take some time off, heal yourself. And if you are fine and you're like on the lookout for new opportunities, date somebody local, okay? Make sure the person is physically and emotionally available, because this long distance relationship where you're seeing each other as like the ideal archetype, and the distance makes the heart grow fonder, but when you're together, you're not seeing the reality of the situation. This is not going to work out well either. So Capricorns, if you're, newly broken up and you feel like you're not ready to date, just don't do it. I feel like you're attracting people that might not want anything feasible or long-term. If you feel like you want to get out there, but there aren't a lot of options in your environment, that's fine too. You can start dating if you are ready. But I feel like there's a lot of still waiting for exes here. There's a lot of temptation in existing relationships. And I'm also sensing a lot of physical separation, such as long distances, when it comes to you and a significant partner. And I feel like you are moved on from here, a fire sign. And you're trying to reestablish yourself, but there's still a lot of yearning. There's still a lot of missing another person. And singles, this is a month where you are highly charged, and I feel like there's a lot of temptation. But I'm sensing that it's going to be very short-lived, okay? Like a short-term relationship, it can be fun, exciting, chemically charged, sexually charged, but it doesn't really lead me to believe that there's anything stable here. The Three of Wands is kind of like standing on the hill, waiting for opportunities to come in. And so if you're this type where you wait and wait and wait, I feel like the opportunities that are coming in might be people that want, flings, that want like one-night stand rather than a relationship. So if you've been waiting and not really dating anybody, and you feel like you're ready to date and you're ready for a relationship, you kind of need to move away from this complacency and move forward and reach out, okay? Make connections so that you have options to choose from. If for whatever reason you feel like you're geographically blocked, like the area you're in is very like sparsely populated, for example, it's okay to, travel a little bit further away to meet new people, to connect with new people. Okay. I'm going to leave it at that. I just feel like there's a lot of things for you to focus on this month. And so you're going to feel like you have outgrown a relationship partner. And I feel like for many of you, if you have a good relationship partner, give it some time. And then others, if you have somebody that is, you know, kind of like lacking in direction, not very ambitious, and you have, it's almost like those rose colored glasses are coming off and you're starting to see them in their full colors, and you're just like, I'm not feeling this relationship anymore. Just walk away from it. Okay, I feel like you've been mulling over this decision for quite some time, and it's time for you to make a move.